gotta understand this. I'm playing it down the line now. I'm playing it down the line. If you deep it, yeah, if he's not got control of his body, right, and he's slipped, he didn't actually have to stick his foot out in that position. He did it because he knows, that he was gonna get past. He didn't actually have to stick his foot out in that scenario. The fact that you did that and your body is not and you're not in control of what your body can do. I understand the damage was not that deep, where it was not that deep, but because you didn't have control of that situation, that is dangerous play. That's my opinion.
They've got you. Yo, what's good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Keeping 90, brought to you by the House of NNESAGA. I know we said that we're going to be in the studio this week, but a few things happened. You know, the weather's changed up the train schedules and all this stuff. It's getting colder, so we're deciding to do another episode online. But we will be back in the studio hopefully next week. Yeah, hold us to that. We've got the man inside. The ladies aren't around, but they were busy in the last few days down at Brentford Women's. They went to get some content at their game, so that content will be coming soon. They won 7-0, which is mad. But before I introduce the lads, we've got a special guest in the building. United supporter. Ever since I've known him, he's loved the club. I swear to you, every other day he's wearing a United top. So this ain't a coincidence, but yeah, K Chill, man, welcome to the show. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm doing good, man. How are you guys?
All good. Obviously, you know why you're here, so we'll get to that later.
I'm ready to get cooked today, man. I'm ready.
We'll get to that later. But Coach Prince, what you man saying? We were at the FC25 launch. How did you man find it?
Yeah, man, it was lit. It was a good event. It was nice to see people in and around, that buzz. It's that time of the year, you got that buzz, right? New football game, new season, everything just feels right. Everyone's starting to see the trajectory of their teams, and not everyone's going to be happy about that, but we'll get into that a little later. But it's that time of the season where everything's all fresh, it's all new, and everyone's friends at the moment. That's how it goes.
Word. Coach, what do you think of the gameplay? Did you play it at the launch?
Yeah, I played a little bit at the launch. I played some now. I'm still trying to get used to it. Like always, they do a few tweaks here and there to the general gameplay. So it's again just trying to get a feel for it. I tried to be Arsenal. I wasn't happy with some of the ratings, by the way. But I see they are improving it with the live update. So I was like, fair play. But yeah, no, game's looking good. I need to play a bit more of rush mode. Clubs, that's my bread and butter all day. But yeah, so far so good with the game.
Bro, you know what it is? I feel like I played it on the weekend, after the launch, and I feel like it's just mad heavier, man. Like it's just heavier. Everything feels too real. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but you can't do things like, hey, you remember when we used to do them tournaments, and sometimes you'd be just playing one-touch football. And sometimes the body angle don't make sense, but the one touch makes sense. This game, if your body is not in the right position,
it's not
making that.
I like that though, man. It needs to be realistic.
Nah, man,
it's a game.
It's got to be realistic, man. I love it. And the thing is, certain players can do it, certain players can't. That's
exactly. That's the trick of it.
Yeah, that's the trick of it. So. Depends on who you're asking to do certain jobs. If they ain't got it in real life, they ain't gonna have it over there. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's true. And that's why you'd be scoring hat tricks with Moises Caicedo. But let's get straight into the Premier League action. We got to start with the last game, the Super Sunday. It was a big game, big result for Spurs and Ange Postecoglou. 3-0 away at Old Trafford. It's just piling on for United. It's piling on for Ten Hag. I think this is the 25th time that they've conceded over 3 goals with Ten Hag in charge. I believe that is the stat. If that is, even if it's near around that is crazy. To be fair, Spurs looked all right. I think they had a lot more chances. Onana had a good game because it could have been 5-6. But K, man, what is happening? What is happening down the sides, man?
Fam, I think time is up for this bold guy, bro. And what's so mad as well, is you just said it's the 25th time we've conceded 3 or more goals, bro. Did we play Man City 15 times and Liverpool 10 times? No, bro. Everton's in there, Spurs is in there, Brighton's in there, Watford's in there, Crystal Palace is in there, Copenhagen's in there, last season's Chelsea's in there, like Brentford's like. We get bullied by anyone half decent. And you can give the excuse of the injuries last season. This is why I even feel mugged off because I'll be backing him, talking about unprecedented injuries. I've never seen nothing like that at United. Everyone was off, no back four, new goalkeeper. This season, he's got his signings. Man have came back. It's the same, not worse. The
It's
cell
only
man
Luke
we
Shaw,
replaced, man. The man that we're replacing, the old guys, we've looked worse than the old guys, bro. Like, it's like something's got to give, like, and I can't defend this no more, man. For real, for real. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it is. It's interesting because the way the game started, and obviously we can talk about the goals and like the possession, but it's just I feel like it was just the effort. I think Spurs clearly had a game plan, and they haven't been having a good few weeks under Ange. Like they've been questioning whether he's going to win a trophy. We've seen all of that in the headlines. So they had a lot of pressure going into that game, but their system just seemed so much clearer than United's. And this was the first time we saw a midfield of Agate, Kobe Mainu, and Bruno Fernandes. And United fans were looking forward to that. But as soon as the game started, there just didn't seem to be any sort of balance. And the same thing that happened with FC20,
3 minutes in, same goal.
same thing with Van der Ven.
It's like these United players. It feels like are the most brain dead ballers. Like it's like when you wear a Man United shirt, the manager needs to control you with a PlayStation pad or something. Like, how is a man like you can't even? I can't even put that on the manager though. But like the Spurs goal and the FC20 thing, manager's running through and manager's watching. Like Rashford lost the ball, his arms are over here. Man's just watching him run past 1, 2, 3, 4 players, bang, goal. And I'm looking at it like, no one wants to take man out. Like, hold a yellow. Like, no one wants to pull a shirt. I see it with City all the time. Man are pulling shirts, them little niggly fouls, the dark arts and that. At United, it's like, there's nothing, like, the players don't use their initiative for anything. Like, so even
There's no,
blaming the
no
manager for
extra.
his
They don't
system,
seem
like, it's
like
crazy.
there don't seem to be any like extra dog like in that like we're gonna take one for the team and I don't feel like the unity in Man United is so visibly not there because you can cover for your boy and they don't do that and that's
Exactly.
what's kind of crazy to me.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, coach. Yeah, so obviously everyone would have watched that game because it was a big game, and both teams, like I said, were in a similar situation. But did you see anything from United? Because obviously there's gonna be they had 10 men because of the Bruno questionable red, not even questionable. It was not a red card in it. Like, it just wasn't a red card.
You don't think so?
It was not a red card.
Nah, don't do that.
Like,
Wait, hold on,
Don't do
hold on,
that. Don't
hold
do
on,
that.
hold on.
That's
Can I
never
just
a red card, bro.
why is it not a red card?
no, wait, are we being serious and saying that you
I'm
think
being dead real. I want to ask a genuine question. Why is it not a red card? I just want to know.
because the contact that he made, yeah, first of all, he slipped, yeah. Then
Yeah, he slipped. I
secondly,
agree with that.
even in slipping,
Right.
the contact that was made with Madison's knee was the top of Fernandez's boot. Yeah.
It was
At
such a
pace or
light.
anything, it genuinely is one of the lightest challenges I've ever seen being given for a red card.
But did he have control of his body? You see, the thing is, I understand the slip, right? You gotta understand this. I'm playing it down the line now. I'm playing it down the line. If you deep it, yeah, if he's not got control of his body, right, and he's slipped, he didn't actually have to stick his foot out in that position. He did it because he knows.
Fair.
Yeah, that he was gonna get past. He didn't actually have to stick his foot out in that scenario. The fact that you did that and your body is not in, and you're not in control of what your body can do. I understand the damage was not that deep, where it was not that deep, but because you didn't have control of that situation, that is dangerous play. That's my opinion.
They've got you. They've got you. They've
Yeah,
got you. Still.
what you're doing is
That's
buy the letter of
what I'm saying. I'm just saying, innit? Like, I'm just saying.
I hope you keep
I'm
that
just
letter
saying.
of the law thing. The letter of the law thing.
No, but I get it. No, I don't agree with it. But I don't think it is. And back in the day, that wouldn't have been a red. But if we're going down the letter of the law, if we're going down the letter of the law,
Letter of the law.
yeah, that's it.
Nah,
Get me?
you changed. That's how you know he's happy. But no, to be honest, I like fair enough. It's split, but I've seen. I think one of the refs on Ref Watch, he thought it wasn't a red. Like Madison was saying it's not a red. Like it just seemed like one of those challenges that, like, if it wasn't given, no one was gonna be like, oh, the game's gone and all of this stuff that should have been sent off. So past that, do you
I
feel
wish
like
I could use that as an excuse, you know.
that's what I was gonna
The
say?
review was terrible,
Do you
bro.
feel like before that, yeah, you'd seen enough to see United could get back into the game? Because you did have a flurry in the second half where it was like You're creating chances. Garnacho was getting the fans up for it, but I don't know.
That's gonna happen in any game.
I was
You're
about
gonna
to
have
say.
moments of like domination. You're gonna have, especially if you're losing at home, man. There's gonna have to be something. Someone's got to give where you start attacking and you cause some sort of problems. This manager lost a man and still played man-to-man defending when you're one defender less. Are you normal, bro? We have 10 men and you're playing man-to-man defense. Like, oh, this guy.
Copes, what are you saying? What?
The question I want to
Nah,
ask. The question I
wait,
want to
wait.
ask Copes. Yeah.
Because I want to hear what Coates had to say because he's just been
With 10 men, United, how did they play with 10 men in comparison to your 10 men?
Listen, not everyone can do a masterclass in the defensive arts, man.
Here we go. Here we go.
Everybody was mocking, saying, "Oh, you got to play the right way when you're a man down." All of this, no, you need the result, fam. And sometimes you just have to assess what's going on. And boy, Ten Hag just didn't get it right, innit? I saw everybody mocking the Mason Mount swap. I don't know how you felt about it, Kay. With what was it, Kobe Mainoo?
I think Kobe was injured.
Kobe's injured.
Oh, was he actually injured?
I do think that I don't think that was a poor change to make though, because I think where obviously I'm a fan of Mason Mount, yeah, but I can also understand that like Kobe in terms of his strengths off the ball, in terms of like chasing down players and having to be a presence in midfield off the ball, I don't think he's there yet. I think Mason Mount is a known runner. He was that role before the Gallaghers and that. Do you know what I mean? So I think that made sense. But at the same time, throwing that type of player into a situation where he's not liked anyway by the fans because he hasn't shown enough. He's got a lot of pressure on him. It's a very difficult situation to go into. It just seems like there's just, even at the time when United were having like a few chances and the fans were getting up for it, that's when Ten Hag used to make two subs that just threw off the whole balance again. And I was just like, what is the plan?
What are you trying to do? And I was just on that, like, even with Mason Mount, I rate him, like, and he ain't shown enough, but like even the little games that he plays, bro, he's dogged, isn't it? He runs against the pitch, he wins the ball a lot. Pre-season and the first few games where he did play, bro, he was winning the ball high up on the pitch several times, and it was creating that press, and he was leading it. But then you go back to the manager again, because then I'm like, okay, so what are you trying to do? Because we all know Mainoo's our main star boy now, and he's more or less gonna play because we're building it up, the midfield with him in it. Okay, then Bruno's our captain and probably our best player output wise. So that leaves one position. You've got Casemiro. You've brought in Ugarte almost as like a Casemiro replacement because Casemiro wasn't crunching down players, wasn't doing what he's supposed to do. So we're seeing him win the ball and look aggressive, and we're like, okay, Mainoo can't do that. This guy can run around for Mainoo. But then now you got Mount. So you're saying, was Mount gonna replace Bruno really? But you made Bruno captain, which means like everything that you do, I have a next question. Like there's never any answer with this guy. And then there'll be moments where you might be in a little forward. Like you might see something, you're thinking, yo, this makes sense. Like start of this season, our underlying tactics have been good. Like I feel like we've been unfortunate in some games. Like Crystal Palace, we peppered them. 60 minutes, should have won that game. It was unlucky again.
Coach, you were there, innit?
I was there. Huh?
Yeah, Coach was there. Yeah. So,
We made chances. We made several chances in that game. I think we should have won that game.
Boy, you
But
need
then,
luster
like,
as well.
yeah, but then that happens though. That's like Arsenal in your game. You went down from 2-0 up to 2-2, but then you ended up winning 4-2. But did everyone go back to that 10 minutes? Does anyone go back to that 10 minutes or 15 minutes where you drop two goals and be like, oh, you could have lost it there? No, over the course of the game,
I hear it.
4-2 and you deserve it.
You said the most
That was
important
us.
thing there, 4-2. Whereas Palace 0-0. Whereas
You know,
Tottenham,
I can't stand you, man. You know, you lot are better.
before we go into like the other games, yeah, we've got to still dissect like a few individuals at United, because obviously there was you guys had a good window in terms of bringing in players that the manager wanted, and I believe Ugarte was £65 million. yeah, and he's only played a few games, but there's been some games where you would have thought that he would have started. Like if he was as important to Ten Hag and United as we thought from the outside, I thought he was going to come straight and have a few training sessions and then come straight in. I think he started one game against Barnsley, and then this was his first start at Old Trafford. And
Second start overall. Yeah.
coach Prince, what are you man saying for Agate? Because he was linked with a move to Chelsea. You see the compilations, what he done at PSG in terms of the tackles, the interceptions, the long ball stats. You know, you always see these stats now flying around. But in
Yeah.
terms of the actual player, what you've seen, do you think that he was the right player for United for what they're going through right now?
You know what it is? The problem is with some of these players outside the Premier League, I always find it hard to tell because from what obviously he's meant to be known as, he's meant to be known as that guy that, as you said, breaks up the play, can hit a long ball. So that is something that if you're looking at sort of trying to get Casemiro out, that in theory sounds like the perfect player you want to bring in. And also his age profile, and he's not that old, is he? He's like 23, 24.
Yeah.
So it's actually something where it's like, actually, that makes sense. I mean, the first two games we've seen him, not been that great. But then, like I said, not sometimes you have to give these foreign players that year, unfortunately. And maybe a guy might need that. But unfortunately, he's coming into a team where you might not have that luxury. That's just the reality because at the moment everyone's on to Ten Hag, everyone's just on to United in general as far as we need this style of play, we need to start seeing results, we need to start getting into that top four. So it's a bit of a sticky one for Agate. I'm not even going to lie to you. It is because there could be a player in there, but right now, I mean, again, we're going off of sort of 2 games in the best league in the world, and he's not quite cutting it. Admittedly, though, at PSG, I didn't see too much of him. So again, maybe this is just what we're just seeing continuing on from PSG as well.
Prince, what are you saying? And what do you think of Xerxes? Because he's another player that was signed this window. He's not necessarily. I think he's a striker, but he's a creative striker. So he's similar
Yeah.
to the Gabriel Jesus mold, that Kai Havertz, those kind of hybrids that can play in multiple positions in the front line. He's been playing up front recently. He scored 1 goal, their first game against Fulham, their only goal that they've scored at Old Trafford this season. Since then, he's had a few chances, hasn't necessarily been able to take them,
Yeah.
but he's had some glimpses that you could say maybe there's something there. But do you feel like, again, he was the right player for what United needed?
I think with Xerxes is a bit different to Agate. With Agate playing for PSG and stuff, I think he's got a lot more pressure on him because you're filling the boots of Casemiro. I think with Xerxes is a bit tough because I don't believe he's a Man United profile striker. In terms of Man United strikers are prolific guys. They are not, I understand and I like Xerxes. I like his link up play. He definitely has that potential, but Man United don't have the luxury of time and any new player don't have that luxury either. That's why it's even been tough for Mason Mount. And I feel like with the kind of striker that Man United need right now in the form that they're currently in, it's a no-nonsense back of the net striker. It's nothing else. You can do all your good link up play, you could do all of that. It's not good enough if you're not putting it in the back of the net. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him. I don't feel like he's a bad player. I just don't feel like he's the right player for this time. Like that's my thought on Xerxes right now.
Okay, what are you saying for these two players? Because obviously, I feel
think,
like you was happy. I feel like you was happy with the window you had.
no, I was very happy with the window that we had. With Xerxes, I feel like it's an unfair one on him. Like one, Hoyland shouldn't have been injured. I feel like Hoyland's meant to be the main guy, and then Xerxes, you're meant to be on the bench. Show us what you can do. If you can take his position, great, because you're around the same age, so you're gonna grow together. If you can break that, then you get in the team, great. And then if not, Hoyland's supposed to be now he's on his 2nd year. He's supposed to kick on and be getting the goals for us. And I rate Hoyland as well. Xerxes though, like I'm saying, he's heavy. He's like a heavy version of Martial. Like Martial was good with the link up play. He could get it, bring a midfielder in, join up the link up play. But I don't even see him with the dead eye finishing that Martial had once upon a time. Because Martial could do all that, and then he'll get 1-2 chances, he's burying it. Like this guy,
Yeah.
from what I can see so far, it's not looking too good. It's too soon to judge. but it's not looking too good. Like I say, maybe with Bruno's form at the moment, you drop him into the 10 and you let Hoyland play, and then you see how that works with him linking up with the midfield and then create chances for Hoyland. Hopefully he can bury them. Ugarte now, I think it's too soon to judge, man. It's
Yeah,
the second start, we're in the mud anyway. So like everyone, even
yeah,
the United fans, we're looking at him like you're the final piece. There's so many things that need fixing. So it's not like drop him in and it all works. The same issues are going on, and then now he's getting murdered for it because this is where we are at the moment. Someone's either a savior or a scapegoat, and that's
and
it.
that's the tough thing. I mean, even if you look at it, I know he was in the Prem before, but if you look at Caicedo and how he started at Chelsea, that was a scary look at first. It weren't looking great. I think you got to give Ugarte time. You have to. Caicedo gave away a penalty and was having all kind of mad decisions within the first 3 games. Look at him now. So it's not impossible. It's just time.
No, that's facts, and it's interesting because there's like these players are quite young, so the pressure. Obviously, we talk about pressure, but it's a crazy thing stepping into like these big clubs and having to perform. You're coming for big prices. You know what the situations that these clubs are under. Like any top club you come to, if you're in the traditional top 6 clubs, the pressure on you is gonna be more than you can handle at that age for anyone coming in, because
Yeah.
majority of the signings are under the age of 25 now. So I think there should be that grace period, but with the performances and the fact that there's not necessarily players that can almost soften that bedding in period, it's
That's
like
what
a
I'm
make or
saying.
break thing.
It's way worse when you're not performing. So like even like a Kai Havertz when he came in, even if he's not doing too well, you're still winning a game. So at
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
game,
Okay, yeah.
all the fans aren't jumping on Havertz. Like, yo, you was meant to be like, you still won the game. You might say, oh, he should have performed a little better, but I'll give him the grace. Next game, next game, next game. Then he builds up, builds up. Next thing you know, he's playing and it's seamless. Or you can even keep him on the bench for a bit, like what Ten Hag's done with Ugarte, and maybe say, "Oh, we'll give him." But because we're so poor, the fans are screaming like, "Why did you sign him? Play him now! Play him now! These times he's not ready. Then you play him now. Oh, he's shit! Like, why did we buy him?" And then it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
decisions are made already. So when you're in a poor reign of home, it's so much pressure on these young players.
Yeah, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with United and Ten Hag now, because I think that it's the pressure's been there since he got that new contract. Started the season well in a sense because he got the win against Fulham, but since then, like you said at the start, majority of the teams that you guys have faced, whether it be, I think it was it Leicester the first 35 minutes, was it Leicester?
Yeah.
First 35 minutes they gave you, there was pressure and then you scored and obviously the game changed. But what do you think it would take for things to turn around, man? Or do you think that Ten Hag is like, it's like a ticking time bomb?
I think it's like a ticking time. I think this result here hurt him heavily because Spurs are a top 6 side, so they're big. But out of the top 6, you want to play them. They're the ones that can get you back in form. Even their style of play, it gives you chances. So you're like, you know me, the high line and that. So you're thinking, all right, we're under pressure. If we can get a game against this, you can now talk about it being a big game, although it's not the biggest because it's still Spurs at the end of the day. But because he's lost it, it's like, and you lost against Liverpool in the same manner, and you're not getting points against the lesser sides after what's already happened. I think his saving grace is the new owners because they did the whole, oh, we're going to interview managers.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented. I've never seen a club say that. Like, oh, why would the manager in? Okay, we're going to go interview all these managers and then we're going to come to a decision. So you've done that. Now it looks crazy. So if you now sack my man after 6-7 games, what's you lot's thought process? Because you lot told us that you've done all this and you've decided he's the best man. Now you lot look bad. So there's layers to this whole thing. So it's almost like they might have to stick by him just to show that they've got some strength in the decisions that they make. They're new owners at the end of the day. We got to see that you got a backbone, you know what you're doing, you're confident in the decisions that you're making. So we might have to hold this for a minute, but like I say, it's caused the fans to start moving mad. So now when we win games, it's not gonna matter because the teams ain't gonna be good enough for it to matter. It's gonna be like you should have been doing this anyway. Look where you are. And then when you lose games, it's a pile on the manager. So I don't see how it gets any easier for him from this stage onwards. You get me?
Prince Copes, what are you man saying? What do you think happens from now? I think they've got Villa and they've got a Europa League game.
Porto.
Yeah,
Porto.
they got Villa. They got Villa and Porto. I think is at the end of the day. Well, to be honest, I thought he would have been in trouble, but I heard he's got a lot of pressure on his next two games. So something I read on Sky Sports was that they're still backing him, but there's now a lot of pressure on him, and it's very telling within the next couple of weeks on what's going to happen because to now lose to Tottenham and then you're going to go into a Villa game and then a Porto game, or is it Porto and Villa? I don't know what way it's around, but to go into both those games it's just very difficult with a lot of pressure on you. So it's going to tell a lot about not just the manager though. The players have to take responsibility here, and there's a lot of pressure on these players. You got to step up. At the moment, I don't know. I don't see them sacking him, but the players need to take some of this responsibility as well.
Copes, what are you saying? What do you think happens if they, let's say, win against Porto and let's say draw against Villa or get a loss against Villa, but it's not like as damning as a performance against Spurs? Do you feel like there's any scenario where he doesn't win, or there's a scenario where he doesn't win those two games, but he still gets the backing from them?
Not really, not really. But at the same time, it's just. I'll be honest with you. It's just a whole bunch of confusion at United where I can't really figure out. Like for example, it's like what Kay was saying. I thought it was weird. They were interviewing people with Ten Hag in charge, and then you give them the contract extension. But then if I'm Ten Hag and if I'm the players, I know actually the guys above don't really want this guy. They don't really rate him. It's only because they couldn't really find anyone in the market. So to be honest with you, the way I see it, do the players really rate him? I mean, do they rate him enough to actually follow what he wants to do in his tactics and how he wants to push the game? Do they care enough to actually want to make sure he stays there? Are they going to work for him for the next two games? I mean, if I'm the board, the fact that you did try and interview people in the summer, all right, if we get rid of this guy, we actually did look this summer and there's actually nobody actually around. Therefore, all right, we get rid of him now, but then who are we going for? Because we already tried to get the people we wanted to try and get, and they either said no or they just weren't around. So then you're in another hot mess where it's like, okay, do you trust then, was it Van Nistelrooy? I guess would be the next person to take over until you figure something out. So it's just a whole lot of like, who knows with United? Because again, they've already done their managerial search already. So it's one of those things where it's not really telling as far as what they'll do or not do in that club.
What I will say though is that we're at the start of the season, most United fans would have told you it's a fourth place, fifth place type of thing. Media, pundits were all sixth, seventh, eighth. So at this moment in time, which is why the in-house fighting with all the fans and the mad toxicities is jarring me, because you're adding pressure to the players and the manager as well. Like it's a pressure cooker at this moment in time, and we're nowhere near falling off from our goals this season. Because if our goals is top four, check who came third, fourth in the last 2, 3, 4 years. How many games they lost? You don't have to be great, to be honest. So right now he needs to fix it, or the board, he needs to turn it around, or the board needs to do something while something can be done about this season. Like the Europa League thing, like, yeah, we drew, we lost or drew the first game, but like that happened. Yeah, that happens. Like I think we'll still get far in that. So that's a possible trophy there. We've been in back-to-back FA Cup finals, so we're obviously a good cup side. There's no reason why we can't perform in the cups again. And then if you can turn it around early enough, bro, we can get into a top four. And then it's a different conversation at the end of the season. So all this jumping out the pram thing and the fans moving crazy and fighting each other online and that is jarring me, because the targets and goals for this season are still attainable quite calmly.
Yeah, but do you think they're also doing that because I hear what you're saying actually, because obviously Ten Hag has won a few trophies in the last 2 years, so it's like why not still trust that he'll fix it? But do you think it's also your fan base is also looking at that of a Chelsea where from the back end of last year up until now, they're actually on form. So you're looking at a team next door who.
I hate when people do that. You're adding the points from last season to this point. It's like
No,
when
no.
people are like,
No,
"Oh,
but
United's lost."
no, but what I'm saying is, even if you look at, say, Chelsea this season, they've gone
Yeah.
from where they were with Poch. They started raising their game by the end of it. Maresca's come in, and now you're watching a Chelsea team, which everybody was making fun of for the last year, 2 years, actually look like a well old machine as far as what they're doing on the pitch right
You
now.
reckon?
Well, they're getting results. So they're getting results.
Yeah. No, they're getting a good goal. But you're watching the games. Do you think Chelsea are really, really? I think every game they've played so far is looks suspect to me. They've got results. Even this last game you played,
Oh,
That's interesting.
bro, it was a madness.
Okay, that's good. That's a good segue. That's a good segue.
Oh.
Man are telling me Sancho's playing well. I'm watching Sancho saying he's not done anything I didn't see at United.
Okay,
But like the
that's
standards are
interesting.
different over
And that's interesting because we're gonna go on to this game anyway, because obviously there was a few big results this weekend. There was City drawing, there was Arsenal coming back. Let's start with Chelsea at home to Brighton after a good run of games, yeah. So, like Kay said, there were moments, and this is from my perspective, yeah. Like Kay said, there were moments in the first half that Brighton were getting chances, but I think Brighton's chances came majority of the time it was from Sanchez or defender overplaying. Yeah. In the second half, that was completely shut down. But in that same first half, the amounts of chances that Chelsea created that they don't normally create, or they didn't normally create under Pochettino when we'd go a goal down or when we'd have some form of adversity at Stamford Bridge as well, it was a completely different team. And it was a team that was reacting to situations that we've seen in the past, and it's gone the opposite way. And Prince, I know that you know exactly what I'm talking about we saw what I've seen live. When the team have gone 1-0 down when they've been created chances, and for the rest of the game they'll still create chances, but they won't score. Even when Cole Palmer, Jackson, these men were in the team. But now it's different. Like there's a confidence in the side where they almost know, even if we go down or we make a mistake, we've still got the game plan that we have against these men is so bulletproof that we're still going to create chances. And even Hertzler said it after, like the way they play, they clocked us. We basically clocked them. Maresca knew that they were going to play a high line, so he kept on getting Palmer into the holes, playing the balls in behind, or one of the midfielders playing the balls in behind, and it was working every time. So I don't know. I hear what you're saying, because you never want to get you don't want to go too far with like praising a team. But the reality is, if you can't say and be honest and see that there is a clear in how Chelsea are playing, they are just hating.
No. There's improvement. I could say there's improvement, but yo, you lot were in the mud, bro. You lot were worse than us. So improvement doesn't
It
mean
wasn't.
that it's a great improvement, bro.
No,
Shall I
no.
tell you some stats about that game, Brighton? Yeah, Brighton had 59% possession, 15 shots. You lot had 15 shots. On target 7. You lot had 7. They had 5. Like it was an even game. They have more possession. This is Brighton with a new manager, and they're not that great, bro.
You're better than that.
No.
This
So
is
I'm saying
this
I need
is
to see. I need to see more for Chelsea. You're gonna try go machine for machine with teams, yeah. And right now it's working for you. Jackson's on form. Cole Palmer's blazing. I want to see when it gets a bit tough. We'll see. And
Okay.
you've got a whole load of quality players. I've been saying that for how long? I say that to you all the time.
Yeah.
That these men, if it clicks, is dangerous. But
Yeah, but then aren't you seeing right now they're clicking?
how can they be clicking? If Brighton's getting 15 shots against you,
They're getting
and
results.
All right. Can I just throw
I
some?
don't-
I want to.
performances.
I want to throw
Performances
some
will end
I'm
up-
context.
confused. So wait, I'm
Go on,
confused.
wait,
Wait,
let Prince
Yeah,
land.
but
I
I'm-
want to throw some context on this here, because I get what you're saying about 15 shots, but what you also got to remember, some of them were pop shots that were never
I
going
was about to
nowhere.
say
That's why you got to really understand that sometimes when we just go off stats, the game looks
of
completely
course,
different to
yeah.
how it was, right? But one thing I'm gonna say, Kay, I actually fully agree with you. You see, for example, the most important game to me this season that Chelsea have had was the Bournemouth one. It wasn't the 6-2 against Wolves. It wasn't this 4-2 against Brighton. It was the 1-0 when we was down and out. And that game, we should have been out. We saved the penalty, but somehow got the result. That showed me a difference between this season and last season. Yeah. But for context on what this game was, and you're saying around, like they had the shots and the goals and that. Yeah,
And
there
the
was a lot of
ball,
worry. They
Possession.
had
and
the
the
ball,
ball.
but do you know what it was, right? What I feel like happened, and I think my biggest worry for Chelsea, even though I'm seeing a lot of improvement, I think you're being a bit harsh saying it's like we're hardly better than you lot. That's crazy to say,
Now
but
they say you're better than us, but I'm saying you lot are coming from the mud. Like I can say United, there's signs of improvement from United last season, but if you improve from 8th to 6th, what's that improvement,
No,
bro?
but see, but that's where I just cannot agree with you because from where Chelsea were, like realistically, Chelsea the back end of last season, I think we won like 10 out of our last 12 games or something along those lines. Scoring goals looked a lot better, and that's why people question why Pochettino got sacked here. But then
yeah,
when you look at this season, you got a new manager that's the first time managing in the Premier League. He's got a completely new team to him. He's got players coming in the same position, got Sancho in, Neto in. He's having to deal with so much. And then you're seeing him saying, okay, we've got to deal with what's happening on the pitch. The first game against City, everyone was laughing at us and saying, is this what he's got to do? Is this what he's doing? Whatever. And that's fine because that's like City did what they did, Kovacic scoring against his old club, whatever. But then when you look at the games that he's had since then and the fact that he even seems to be improving because a lot of the things that Leicester fans didn't like about him is that he wasn't able to adjust in the way he managed. Like if things weren't going his way, he would still keep the same players, the same formation, whatever. But with this Chelsea team, what I've seen is that when things aren't going his way, he's not afraid to make a sub at halftime. He's not afraid to change up
Because you
some.
got 100 players, fam, of quality.
But, see, but that's what I'm saying. The narrative
No,
is
no, no,
changing.
no, but it's good. No, it's good. No, it's in like he's managed to ease up that squad. Even how he was talking before the season started, I really rated it, bro, because
yeah.
people were trying to burn Chelsea down, and he was just like, "Bare noise, don't worry. I know my team. I know who's playing. These men ain't involved.
Mm.
I'm not in the changing room with 100 man. Don't worry, you'll see." And the proof's in the pudding so far, innit? But this game this weekend, it was looking all Man United, Chelsea, and it was 4-3 at the end of last season. Just
It
a
wasn't
bit
though.
of a
That's what I'm
machine for
saying. It,
machine.
it just wasn't. But I get what you're saying because scoreline wise, and we have been conceding a lot of chances. That
That first half was insane, bro.
it
The
was
first
it,
half
it
was
was
the
crazy.
first half was
The
crazy,
first half was
and
crazy.
I'm still not happy with how that the I would say the complacency sometimes. I feel like when Chelsea, and this is the thing about having a young team, when they feel like they're balling out, then they just do this
Start
whole
losing
I'm balling, like I'm balling. Don't these men are not near me. And Caicedo, as brilliant as he was just as diabolical sometimes because there was points where he had the ball and he was just trying to be too tidy. And it's like, brother, put your foot through it and get it out.
Yeah,
And I feel like that is the mentality. And I think there was another couple of issues which I feel will affect us going on. Sanchez, this passing and distribution is horrid, and it's been horrid since he's joined. And it's like you've just caused 2 goals. If that was Man City or if that was Arsenal, if that was anyone else with a
game's
better
changed.
defense, that's game over.
Yeah.
You're not getting back. You're not getting that game back.
Mm.
You're lucky that Brighton was playing a high line. And then I feel like another thing, decision making up top, like Jackson, as much as he's been a lot better this season, again, it's like he wants to be too sure before he shoots. And then you have Madweke, who I believe personally is a great player. He's got such potential, but I feel like when he sees others shining, he wants a bit of that limelight and he will not pass the ball. And there was a point where he could have laid it off. He didn't. He went for the shot. It didn't hit. And everyone kind of looked at him like,
Yeah, that
what are
brother's
you
got
doing?
main character syndrome.
But
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
I don't think that that's an issue as such though. Like because when I see that
I think it's a massive issue.
no, but the reason why I say it's not is because that's what I feel like Sancho and Neto kind of complement that a little bit. Like Sancho is a selfless player. So he's a
Yeah.
player that he's always going to be looking for those passes. Palmer, Noni, even Jackson to a certain extent, but I think Jackson's more he's not thinking about it as such. Yeah. Them players, they want the limelight, they want the finishes, and you always need a balance in a side.
Yeah,
And
you need that arrogance sometimes. That's how you get to the
exactly.
top,
And
anyway.
and I'm not saying that they can't improve, but I'm saying that going into like the bigger games this season, you are now looking at Chelsea and saying, okay, they could get a result here. Like if they go in against Liverpool or Spurs or whoever it is, you'd be like, oh, like they've got something to beat them. Before last season, it was like what Chelsea is going to turn up. And it's like that narrative is changing. So I'm not saying we're perfect, or I'm not saying that we're going to finish top 4 guaranteed, or we're in any title race. But when you see the improvement and you see it be a thing of, okay, week on week, you're seeing certain fundamentals stay the same, and then you're seeing other players getting better. Like Colwell has started the season incredibly. Kukurea as well. Gusto's back in. Enzo and Caicedo, no one's talking about them. These were all conversations before that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, now people are saying, oh, but they've got 100 players, or oh, they've got no injuries. It's like, okay, the narrative's changing. Oh, their squad cost $1 billion. So if you want to talk about that, that's fine. That means we're doing something right. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, that's the only thing that I took from that game. But again, same thing with Liverpool, because they've had a good run of games. They've not really had I think their most difficult game has been United. But is that a difficult game at this point? I think Liverpool and Chelsea have got a really tough October. So I think that's when we're going to see what we make of them.
Yo guys, you've reached halftime here at Keep It 90. If you like what you hear or see, make sure you give us a follow on all platforms, and also make sure you comment as well. Would love to hear what you lot think.
Talking of Liverpool, yeah, are we surprised at Arne Slot, and do we think that they are title contenders?
No. Why would we surprised? Nah, I don't think we're surprised, just because the reality is that team is pretty much the team we saw last year. Under Klopp.
This is what I'm saying.
Like, literally, all that's changed is they've added Chiesa, which was a smart buy, and it wasn't that expensive. And if you get even, I think me and Prince have spoken about it before, 60 to even 80% of that Chiesa that we saw a couple of years ago, that's an absolute coup. So the reality is, no, we're not surprised, because it's literally picking up what was left off by Klopp and just carrying on.
That's not an easy thing to do, though. And also, he's changed the life of Gravenberch, bro. He has changed Gravenberch's whole life. Like, and that was something.
You gotta give that high respect still.
But doesn't that also prove then that Gravenberch, which we all knew he wasn't a bad player to begin with, so it's
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like Slot deserves a lot more credit, because following a manager like Klopp is not an easy task.
A culture manager.
That talk there, it annoys me. I know I'm a United fan, so no Liverpool man are going to listen to this properly. They talk like Klopp is Fergie or Wenger or something.
Facts. I've been said it.
You can't say, following on from Nick. Fam, following on from Sir Alex Ferguson, 13 Premier League titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 4 Champions League finals, countless FA Cups, League Cups, World Cup. That's a mad thing. Not, this guy is competing against Man City. What, we're going to say that about Arteta in like 3 years when he wins the trophy? Like, what are we saying here? He won 1 Premier League trophy. He won like 2 League Cups, 1 FA Cup. Yeah, he did well. He brought Liverpool back to where they need to be. But let's not talk like another manager cannot continue. I'm not saying he's going to do better than him. I'm not going to say he's even going to match him. But we're not acting like
the Klopp hype is crazy.
Yeah, the Klopp hype is way crazy. Arteta's doing what Klopp's been doing. Arteta's now doing that now.
You know why you lot aren't being honest here is because when you look at where Liverpool were when Klopp picked them up to where they are now, you cannot tell me that his influence has not changed the trajectory of that side. So
massively. They came second before.
It's not about coming second. It's about competing. So if they've competed in that period where they wasn't years before, he won their first Premier League.
Brendan Rodgers didn't compete.
He did. He competed for 1 season.
Yeah. And then that's when he took over. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. You're even what you're doing to Klopp is what you're doing to Slot now. It's like, how are you not going to respect?
I respect it, but I'm saying you lot are like
no. It's like I agree with Kay. Yeah, I agree with Kay. Like I feel like he's been like Klopp when he was like retiring and all this. Everyone was talking like, say, he's even surpassed Jose Mourinho in the Premier League. It was like, bro, I don't understand it. The man, like, for me personally, if you're a manager that's gonna sit there and you're gonna say he's some big legendary manager, I need to see multiple prems. You've won 1 prem. I'm not saying he did great things at Liverpool. That Champions League season was great, and he almost won the prem that season too. That Premier League season was great to take it off Man City. I agree with that. But what it is that when it comes down to him and his career, at the end of it, it was 1 prem and 1 champion. Let's not get too excited. Let's not get too excited.
And I understand what you're saying in terms of the actual, like,
and the players are still there, by the way.
No, I get what you're saying, but we just cannot. What I won't allow this pod to be, is a pod that this is almost looks over what a
Yeah.
man could do at a football club because
Nah, he done a lot.
because for example, Arteta's won nothing. Oh, he's won an FA Cup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to
At
say.
this
I did
point,
that too.
sorry, at this point, yeah, if another manager had to come in and take over Arsenal, it would be a big task because of what he's been building. And he ain't won that much. So we can't take away what Klopp has done in those 7 or 8 years when these man he's dealing with players that
Nah, I agree with that.
with 3 players that are out of contract, that they're 3 most important players. That's not even a conversation as such. Slot has started the season incredibly.
Yeah.
To the point of them now being in conversation like this. So we can't discredit
No,
what Klopp has done, and we can't
I'm not.
discredit.
I'm not. No, I'm not
let's not
discrediting.
let's
I'm not
not discredit
discrediting
it.
it.
Let's
Yeah,
say that
I'm just
he's
saying he's
doing
not
a
up
good
there
job.
though. He's
Yeah.
not there with them.
But
Please
I'm
stop.
not saying he
Let's
is.
stop.
I'm not
Like, you
saying
are.
No. I'm not
That's
saying
that's
you
the
saying
same.
it, but
That's the
that's
same
what some
sentence.
people are saying. Like some people are sitting there saying, like, "Oh yeah, he sits in one of the Premier League's greatest ever," and I'm sitting there like, "Bro, he doesn't." That's a crazy sentence to say when there's really been some crazy things that's happened with certain. Like, come on, he doesn't sit with Alex Ferguson in the same table. Let's be. Come on, man.
Not even the
he's
same
invited
sentence.
to the party though.
Does he sit? Does he sit with Angelotti?
He's invited to the party though. He's invited to the
What
party.
what
Let's be honest.
what I will say is with Klopp, which I
Uh,
when
then I'm
dismissing.
invited to that party as well
No,
because
but
what
you
I've
also
done on FIFA is amazing.
but you guys also got to remember with that Liverpool and that Klopp side is that was a team competing with arguably the best team in the last.
Ever seen?
Yeah, exactly. So when you're competing with
I don't know
a
about
team like
everything,
City, and when you think in any other era, that Klopp side is cleaning, like it's
but it's not any
cleaning.
other era. It's
It's
not any
not
other era.
though.
No, but my
It's
point,
not though.
In
no, but
any
the
other
point I'm
era,
making,
Neymar's
no,
got
but the
like
point I'm
16
making, no, but
Ballon
what I'm saying,
d'Ors.
yeah, but what I'm
It's
saying, the
not.
point I'm making is if you're comparing that Liverpool side to that City side, come on, but the resources and what was going on with Pep and that City team versus the Liverpool team, for what Klopp was doing for that 7-8 years, you have to put your hand up and go, fair play,
It
because
was good.
it was
Yes.
Yes, it's
ridiculous.
good.
But what see so, and this is why you lot try to say Prince and Case specifically. You try to say that there's not hate in your heart and it's not coming from a United place or
I
even a
don't.
Chelsea place, yeah. But we have not compared him to Fergie. We didn't compare him to Wenger.
No, you're
I've
saying the
just said
same sentences
But
that
I've just
apply
said no,
to
but
Fergie.
I've
Let's
just
say
said Klopp leaving, yeah, the way he did or way he had to whatever for himself, and a new manager coming in and carrying on exactly the way that manager previously has done to this point. We're not saying he's going to go on and challenge for the title, whatever. But I'm saying at this point, for them to even be in this conversation, you have to give man his flowers. You have
yeah,
to.
he's doing a good job after
He's doing a
taking
great
over.
job. He's
After
doing a
taking
great job.
over a good manager,
He's doing a
so
great job. He's
that's
doing a great
fantastic.
job.
But then when it's Fergie, you're saying, "Yo, that job is almost impossible to take over."
No,
Wenger,
take
even
over.
Wenger didn't had like trophy 10 years, but still, you're saying, "Yo, that's 20 years."
Wenger's job still hasn't been taken over though. If you're honest.
If Wenger's
But
what?
this is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is a whole nother conversation. Because
Well, yeah, I'm just saying it.
I feel like now you're taking away what these modern managers are doing because they are still currently like managing. Like if we were to look like objectively at what Slot's doing, that's a smaller sample size. But then Arteta, for example, it's not the fact that these men are winning things yet. It's the fact that they are putting the teams in position to compete
Yeah.
in a time that has been very difficult. We have never seen a time like this. And this is a fact because you're going to try and bring United into it, but
Yeah.
no team has ever won 4 league titles in a row. No team has got over 100 points and then one to flipping. They've won 4 in a
The
row.
league's different. You can't compare like that. You know, the league's different. I could argue that when United was doing that, there were a lot better teams.
But that's subjective. That's the way you're
No,
looking.
no. Bro, Chelsea, look at Chelsea now. They're not taking points off the top. Back then, we had lower points totals because teams were taking more points off teams at the top.
I
That's
completely
not That's not happening no
disagree with
more.
that. I disagree.
Both teams that are competing for the league are both getting plus 90 points. That means they're slapping up the whole league, bro. That wasn't happening before because
Because
Chelsea
they're
was good. Chelsea would beat Liverpool. Liverpool would beat Chelsea. Arsenal beat United. United would beat like it was a more competitive league.
no, I
There were
just think
more. The
I just
managers
think
was there was better. Wenger was there. Jose was there.
no,
Liverpool.
because
Benitez.
there was a time recently where the managers in the league were Pep Guardiola, Klopp, Tuchel, Conte, Jose, Like
Just
we
say
can't.
Jose now, man. You
But
can't
we
say
can't, we
Jose
can't,
now.
we
I'm
can't.
talking about prime
No,
Jose,
but
bro.
then even if we went below that, we're talking about Lopetegui. We're talking about Unai Emery. These are These are top managers at like clubs that aren't even fighting for the top 4 spots or now have been. So we can't. You can compare. That's what I mean. This could be a whole conversation in itself, which we
Yeah,
should
yeah,
probably
yeah.
do. Yeah,
We should do it. I'm
Yeah.
up for
we'll
that
do
one.
it.
Yeah.
But if we're being honest, this period of competing in the league, on top of the fact that the World Cup's been around, the Euros playing it's a
How many Champions League finals has Pep gone to with Man City?
2.
2. He lost one, won one, right? He
Yeah,
lost to who? Chelsea.
yeah.
Yes. He's
Heresy.
been to last year FA Cup final. Pep played United. He lost. You like you're talking like this is some unbeatable team that's impossible
No,
to
but
like.
but it's
What
you.
are we
But
talking
that's what I'm
about?
saying.
Manchester United made
There's
three
hate in
Champions
your
League
heart.
final,
There's
three
hate.
Champions League finals in 4 years, and three-peated the Prem in the same time.
No, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. City have
I don't
done.
want to hear about points totals.
No, but
Yeah,
City have.
none of them 4 in a row,
But City have done 4 in a row, and during that 4 in a row, they've won. And this is the thing. We're
and they've
even
won
getting
one
off.
Champions
We're
League.
getting off.
That's
We're getting off the tangent.
that's levels, bro.
We're talking about slot. But this is what K. Just to let you guys know, this is what K does. Yeah?
Okay.
This is what he does. The conversation. It's hard to keep it flowing for this guy. We'll take.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
But let's get back to Slot. Yeah.
Yeah, go
How
on.
much
Yeah.
are we rating what he's done for Liverpool so far? Obviously, K, you're not feeling it, but Copes, Prince, what are you saying? Do we feel
They're
like
contenders.
they're
Yeah,
contenders?
contenders.
Definitely.
100%.
And are you putting that down to the team or him actually being able to better the team that was already there? Because let's not forget, Salah wasn't happy. Trent wasn't even coming out and saying that he wants to be a better defender, which he's doing now. Ryan Gravenberch wasn't in the side, and people are questioning that signing. Everything is looking smooth.
It's both. At the end of the day, I got to say it's both. Just simply because that is still a team I watched last year up until what maybe last 10 games fell off. So that is it's a good foundation. So the reality is he had a very good foundation he was walking into. Yes, as you mentioned, the likes of Trent doing being better on defensive end, Gravenberch looking like a whole new player. So he is coming in and he's putting his splash on the team, but it doesn't go against the fact that you would have really had to have been bad to you know what I mean, like bottle it with this Liverpool team, because like I said, the core of it was still there from walking into. But again, I got, but like you said, you got to give credit where credit's due in some of the pieces that he is doing, but it's a bit of both.
I feel you. All right, cool. We'll see what they do, especially after this October period. They got a few Champions League games. They've got a tough run in, so it's going to be interesting to see how Arne Slot deals with that. I know Kay's going to be eagle-eyed on that one. Let's move on to Kay's nearest rivals, Manchester City. They drew with Newcastle away at St James's Park.
Be humble, Be
they
humble.
they did. To be fair, it was a game that everyone knew was going to be very different because Rodri has now been announced that he's going to miss the whole season. Pep seemed to be very agitated in that press conference when he was announcing that, because this is the first time he's not had a go-to CDM, but even cover for that CDM. When Fernandinho was injured in previous years, they had Rodri to kind of step in. When Rodri had injuries, they had Fernandinho to step in when he was getting to the latter stages. Now, I think they're a bit lucky that they've got Gundogan back, but even at that, that is not a direct replacement. So, what are we saying? Did we watch that game? What are we thinking? Do we think that they're still favourites, or is the Rodri injury really going to affect how we see City moving this season?
I think City, you gotta give them respect. I think based on what they've did and how they're playing, until they lose the title, they have to be favourites. They have to be favourites because we're disrespecting the team here. Like they'll go on. They won the league last year, and I think KDB was out for like 5 months. Like they've had big players out before, and I think Pep's the type of guy that you don't want to really give him. Don't make him the underdog. Like,
Yeah,
don't start
Yeah.
trying to talk like, yeah. Because right now, it's feeling like even the media trying to put him on his toes. Then it's like you're gonna get him pissed off, and then it's gonna get mad. It's gonna get mad. So I think we have to just see how it goes. And I think he's a sicko, man. He'll figure a way to work it out. He'll figure a way to work out. Having Gundogan back as well, he was one of their main
Massive.
players. I think that was a
Yeah.
Yeah,
flipping cheat. Like, how does
massive,
he just go
massive.
back like that? Like,
Back
that's
on a free.
massive.
So what, Prince Copes? We agree with that. Do we think that they're still favourites? Do we feel like they're gonna
Yeah.
try and get a CDM in Jan, or you think it'll be
Nah.
mid?
It's,
They're looking at a CDM, ain't they? I can't remember who it was, but they're looking at a CDM to cover for Rodri, and it's a player that I'm not too familiar with myself, but I know their profiling ain't silly. So whoever they're looking at is probably going to be something very serious. But they're favourites because at the end of the day, even though Rodri's out, I know they drew against Newcastle and whatever, and it weren't the greatest of performances from a Manchester City side. This is what we see from Man City now is never what we know Man City for. It's later on down the line. Come February, that's when it's business time. We're not seeing Man City right now. When he won the first 3 games, he said preseason's just finished. He was on 9 points and Haaland scored like back-to-back hat tricks, and he said preseason's done.
He's
Like,
a sicko, man.
yeah, like it's we're not seeing Man City right now. I'm not judging them right now. They're still favourites until I see them in business end when everyone's tired, Champions League fixtures, internationals coming in, all of this, all of that. That's when you see what Man City and what Pep is all about, and that's when you can judge. And that's when a team will take them off favourites or they go off with it. That's it.
Coach, from an Arsenal perspective, do you feel like Rodri being injured is the same as an Odegaard being out? Like, do you see that as the same thing?
hell no. Hell no. And there is no, listen, and the reason I say hell no is because I think we touched on it a bit last week. To me, Rodri arguably could say best midfielder at the moment in the world, but it's the team, the overall team that City have. So, for example, yes, Rodri's out, but we touched on it before. John Stones can slot in there. We've seen him do it very effectively when they won the Champions League that year. I think it was that year. We saw him do that. We've seen Rico Lewis slot in there in the inverted position. They've got Gundogan back. They've got Matheus Nunes, who's no scrub. So it's one of those things where they've got cover to hold out that position up until Rodri comes back or January when they go and find a replacement. So whereas you look at the Arsenal team, Odegaard's out, and the only one who's that kind of creative player, I guess, is Wanyeri, who Arteta hasn't quite yet gone.
Trusted.
Yeah, exactly. Here, get into the starting 11. Let's see what you can do. And even then, you know, I'm hoping Wanyeri is going to be the guy that, you know, we're all praising him to be. But the reality is, he's not quite proven just yet. Whereas I have seen Stones play that CDM role.
Yeah.
I've seen Lewis, I've seen Nunez, I've seen Gundogan for years rocket in that midfield. Like, I've seen these players do what they need to do on the biggest stages and get things done. So to me, it's like there's definitely a massive contrast as far as us losing that Odegaard piece versus Rodri. But again, you'll speak to Pep, and as you can say, Pep's devastated. Why would you not be? That's the best player in the world out. But the reality is, he's in a very fortunate position where he has got somewhat adequate cover until, again, they find a replacement or Rodri comes back.
No, fair enough. Let's go on to Arsenal then. This is the longest it's taken us to go to Arsenal, to be fair. I know Coach is frustrated to talk about it. But Arsenal versus Leicester at home, 4-2 win. But something went right, man. That's just from my perspective. Something went right. And I think, obviously, like you said, Odegaard being out, the balance is being hit. But also, I feel like the output from the forwards, even though you scored 4 goals, it just seemed the keeper was on a madness. The Leicester
Oh my gosh,
keeper,
yeah,
he had a great game.
He was going
He
crazy.
had a great game. But at the same time, I feel like it's similar to how you started last season. It's not clicked just yet. Am I wrong in saying that, Copes, or do you agree?
No, I agree. I agree as far as we've not looked as you can almost say it's like City-esque in a sense where the last couple of years you see the first couple of games you don't quite look like we're clicking and then we sort of try and find that form. I think it's also a bit more difficult because as we have pointed out, the reality is we have lost Odegaard. So the last sort of 3 games you've been watching, what is it? City, Atalanta, then we've just seen Leicester. I think I'm missing one other game. But you're watching a team where the game plan flows through Odegaard as far as that creative spark. And all of a sudden, you've lost that. And and it's proven Trossard can't do it. Havertz can't do it. You're seeing no one's quite been able to slot into what Odegaard provides us. So with that, I think it's just us trying to adapt and try and figure things out. So I think we're going to get there because again, what we're doing also is with losing that creative spark is we're getting the results. We've had a few big games and
East FC.
say again.
piece.
Set Peter, yo.
I can't believe how many set pieces you man are scoring.
Yeah,
Like, it's got to a point where I actually think teams that play you have to have training sessions just on you man set pieces. Like, look at what they've done in the past and work at it, because it shouldn't be happening
Oh,
as
at the moment, it's like a cheat code. Again, shout
Yeah,
out to
it's
that
like
Leicester
ace in the
keeper.
hole, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
it could have been worse. It could have been more than 4-2 because I think he saved a couple from Gabriel. Calafiori should have got
crazy
one.
ones.
I
Yeah,
was thinking,
yeah.
damn, like how like we should have cleaned him out the park. So no, definitely shout out to our set piece coach because he's doing a madness at the moment. And again, our defensive again, and this is the thing. Even while we're trying to figure out with that Odegaard missing piece, the one thing that even when we were talking pre-season, defense, I'm not necessarily that worried about because the core there is just, for me, it's one of the best in Europe. So you could say if not the world. So in terms of our defensive work, and again, we proved it with City as well. Like, wait, why you look smiling? What you look trying to
No,
say?
because Kay's huffing and puffing, so I know he wants to say
What,
something.
you think our defense is bad? Go on, Kay.
No. What it is that I'm just laughing because you lot. I feel like you lot's thing just goes way up here straight away. Like you gotta do things first before you
Wait,
start saying
what?
the sentences there. Like
No,
the
because
best,
in
the
Europe.
best defense in the world needs to be winning, man.
I said one of the best in Europe. Hold a minute. Where did I lie with that?
No, it's cool. One of the best in
You
Europe.
wait. You know your players as well voted for our players being in that team of the year. I'm just pointing out in
Bro,
the PFA.
your defense is amazing. I was gonna give you a compliment. I'm gonna say that's my the thing that I'm most impressed with Arteta, yeah, is he's just shown that he's got bare balls to his string. Like last season, I've seen him pepper up teams, and there's games where they can pepper up team, bare shots, running riot. Then there's a next game where they can defend for their lives, and then there's the next game they're scoring set pieces, all different types of goals. And then, like they say, missing Odegaard. I think Odegaard's their best player. I think people overlook him. Like I know everyone loves Saka and that, but I think when
He's
you watch them play, he
Yeah.
knits everything together. Like because he don't get the full assist or the actual goals.
Yeah, the
People would
GNA,
just be
yeah.
thinking, oh yeah. No, like if you watch the game, he puts it all together. He's their best player, I think, and I think he needs to be rated more overall. But then because they can play all different styles, they're so difficult to beat. Like you can just imagine in future if they get in the Champions League final and they're 1-0 up and it's 10 minutes to go now, it's like, yeah, let's lock it up.
Yeah,
And
it's
they'll be
done.
able and they'll be able to do that and it's done. And then like when they need to score a goal, like it's happened against us couple times where we scored the leading goal and it's almost like they just turn on like, all right, cool, boom. Then they've scored within 2 minutes against us. Like so I like how he's got bare balls to his string, and everyone likes to call him like Pep's son and that, and it's like, nah, bro, this guy's got his own thing going on, and
Yeah,
he
he's good
knows
at it,
different styles of play, and he can put it all together. But then when we start doing the best in the thingy and all that,
Wait, hold on. Okay,
it's just very heavy.
you know what's mad? You know what's mad? Okay, I feel like you're trolling me because I was saying like here and saying Europe. Then the speech you just gave makes it seem as it's all the way up here, and then you got the cheek to be like, oh yeah, but we can't be saying the best in the world. Like you literally just praised as if that team is the best in the world. Like I'm trying to see like
No, but he's saying I get what he's saying. And even Saliba said it himself. He said that he can say that he's one of the best centre backs, but he can't really like have that title until he wins something.
okay, so it's the trophies then. That's
course.
That's why we play. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Okay,
That's everything that I keep telling Copes every time. That's all that matters at the end of the day. I tell Copes, I tell my Arsenal friends all the time, you could be as great as you want. No one remembers second place. That's just the reality.
I hear it.
That is
I hear it.
You can't. I could like you know exactly who won the Olympics the last couple of years. You couldn't tell me second and third. Like that's just the reality of it.
Like, you know when Saliba and Gabriel, when they walk into Martinez and Varane's crib, if there was just a Man United and an Arsenal trophy cabinet, yeah, and they come into Martinez's crib, he's gonna be like, yeah, Man United player. That's what I've done. That's what I've done here as part of a back four.
Nah,
Saliba and Gabriel gonna be like, yo, we're one of the best. Yo, what have you done?
nah, they're not gonna trust me.
You need to watch a couple games, man. We want 3 points.
That's not getting it done.
The highlights.
That ain't getting it done. That ain't getting it done. You're talking about Romero and Van der Ven, bro. You're talking about Romero and Van der Ven, fam. Walking into
No, because Saliba and Gabriel, they ain't won that in together though. Saliba weren't there when you won that.
no, 100%. But I'm not looking at any United player. Trust me.
No,
like,
But just to throw a little spanner in the works, though, with this whole Saliba situation, obviously how good he is. Obviously, I see people call him a Rolls Royce. I don't like calling him that. I feel like he needs a bit more years behind him. He's definitely a Ferrari or a Lambo, though. I'll give him that. But no, like he's a Lambo still. He will be a Rolls Royce. But you see, Arsenal and this whole trophy thing we're talking about. If you lot don't win anything like this season, knock Real Madrid's on that door because Rudiger, they're finding that replacement, and then that's where the real questions around Arsenal start to come out. Because if you lose Saliba, and then these other players will start looking around, and you're not going to really find a replacement for Saliba like that. It don't happen. He's a great.
You lot are just trying to put that in.
Not only that,
I'm just saying they will start knocking on Saliba's door, and you know what happens when Madrid knocks. It happened to us with Hazard. When he knocks,
not only
they
that,
go.
yeah, football isn't linear, bro. So it doesn't go like this and continue to. So while you're doing this and you're doing second place, but you're not winning, Chelsea might go. Doop, 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 doop. Someone might fix up. Next thing you know, you're in a challenge with 3 teams. Next thing you know, you're in a challenge with 4.
I think it is 3 teams already, though. I think Liverpool's in there.
Liverpool's there now. Next thing you know, you're looking at it like, how have Liverpool won the title and we still ain't won that? Then Real Madrid come and start picking off some of your best men. So I'm saying, you man better win,
Listen.
A lot of pressure, bro.
Listen. At the end of the day, yeah, you can say it's 3 years, but the reality is the first year, no one expected it. No one even thought we were going to get top 4, so that surprised everyone. Last year, we went toe to toe. We were 2 points down. I think, as you guys said. So, if we're looking at it now, this is probably the second year where I agree something's got to come out of it.
Yeah.
And if not, we have to I best see an entire playbook's worth of injuries throughout the whole season. If not, someone's got to break down to me what's happened. But the reality is, it's a process, isn't it? Like, at the end of the day, Arteta, it's like what Sam said. We had to see what Arteta started with to what it is now, and what he's had to do over the last couple of years to get the team to what it is now.
Of course.
Yo.
Wouldn't you say that you should be focusing on the other trophies? Because what you're talking about is your progress and your journey to winning the league, right? But imagine last season, you were the team that came 2 points behind Man City, but you beat Man City in the FA Cup final. It's a whole different conversation. That's like now.
Yeah.
So I don't even want to hear toe-to-toe with City. Do you know why? Because you lot are early doors out of every cup competition. So you're toe-to-toe with City in the league. But City is telling you that we're in the FA Cup.
Hold on. Me and City, we got to the same stage in the Champions League now. Whoa. Don't make it serious.
I like that.
No. But they're in the FA Cup final, right?
Yeah, no.
Last year they won the treble. So they were in the final of everything else, plus competing with you and beat you to that. If you are picking up these trophies, even if you're not winning the league, but you're competing against them, there's more weight behind your team. But if you're coming out, you're not even reaching semis or
no,
quarters
100%.
of
But
these
that's also
competitions.
why. No, I agree, and I think that's why
you need to be taken on serious.
No, I agree, and I think that's why also Arsenal fans are also saying now, okay, it's looking good, but we do want to come out with something, whether or not it's like FA Cup again. We need to. I mean, and that's also what's probably annoyed, and I can speak for myself as a fan, which annoyed me a bit how we've thinned our squad a bit going into this season. I think that's one of the things we mentioned again when we were talking about the transfer window. That's what I wasn't too happy about, because it's like, hold on a minute, if we're now trying to get serious, and as you just pointed out, we do want to come out with something. You thinning the squad, what does that mean? I.e., Odegaard. Odegaard gets injured. Vieira is out on loan. You've got rid of Smith Rowe. You got rid of all these pieces. Now what happens? So no, I agree with you. We do need to come out with something. Otherwise, all of this is for nothing, basically. Because as you point, and as we've discussed so far this session, Chelsea, they're getting better. Liverpool is still there. United, at some point, you lot will click back to what it is. You got Villa and a few other teams which they're just sort of sniffing around trying to figure out themselves. But we're in a good spot, man. I think the reality is we're in a good spot. And as you said, what's been nice to see is again the evolution of Arteta as well, where again we're not just one. We're not just we follow Pep's way. As you pointed out, we can attack, we can defend, we can do things now where set pieces are now in our arsenal. There's a lot of things where we can see that this team is picking up things and learning and evolving. But again, we need to get the trophies to sort of make it complete, shall I say? So we'll see what happens this season.
No, I love that. It's gonna be interesting. It's still early doors, man. Only 6 or 7 games in. But it's because football is back, obviously, but it feels so important. Every game feels so important. Wwhether you want to win the title, whether you want to get top 4, like your teams need to do something, especially because we've got a pod and we're having to talk about it every single week, so it feels a lot deeper. But yeah, it's still early doors, still only it's ending. It's going to be October when this comes out, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Before we go, there's been a few things that have happened around the world of football. Antoine retires from international ball. That's a sad one still for France because he
Yeah.
secretly
He's like their best
he's been
player.
their most important player.
Bar Pogba, he's their best player, bro. For me.
Right,
Yes,
no Giroud.
Huh?
Giroud.
nah.
Nah.
Antoine,
Nah, Giroud's vital though.
He's scored some
he
important
is,
goals, but
vital. But
I
I
would
think
say
in
that.
terms of importance, yeah, I even have Griezmann over Pogba. I think Griezmann has been
Nah.
like he's been the key clock in every team since 2016, the Euros. Then
He always
Mm.
performs for them still.
he always performs for them, whether it's left mid, up, false nine, up front, number 10. He's done a madness. So yeah,
He doesn't get enough credit.
that's gonna be a big miss for them. But yeah, I can completely understand. He's getting to that age now. He's still playing at
And he's
Athletic.
done it, and he's done it as well. He's done it. He's won the higher heights in it. So it gets to
Exactly.
that time, man.
Exactly. And then we've got to shout out Lauren James, man, because she commented on our TikTok.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We're bigging her up for the scheme that she's starting. And yeah, she commented. Don't know if it was her or her team, but we shout you out regardless.
Yeah,
man.
and they done a madness to Palace on the weekend. I watched that match on
Yeah,
Friday,
7-0.
Friday night. Yeah, 7-0 was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it was a good one.
What
It was a
Anita
good
said is
one.
facts, though, man. Chelsea women's, they're coming for everything still. They're coming for everything.
I mean, it was Palace. It was Palace who just
And,
came.
and then the Chelsea men are to follow that trend as well. By the way,
Oh, word. The
Yeah,
Chelsea
I'm
ladies
on
have
that.
just always been on point.
Chelsea ladies are always stealing United players, man.
Bro,
Always.
you lot are like the
Always. Nah.
God.
Bro, and I'm not fully locked into the ladies' game, but it's like because I follow them on the gram and that. I'm seeing like a hyped up United player. I'm thinking, all right. The next season, I'm seeing her in blue. I'm like, yo, Lauren James even started like that. I swear. I'm like, you
Look, it
snake.
happens when it
There's
happens,
no loyalty
bro.
in the ladies' team, man. The ladies need to fix it.
There's no loyalty still, but it's going to be this season's going to be strong. I think a lot of teams have started well as well, but yeah, we'll keep you locked in with that. And then lastly, Osimhen scored his first goal. I feel he scored a few goals for Galatasaray, but
He's on. I think he scored 2 goals and 4 assists. I believe he's on.
But
right
he's
now.
looking comfy, man. I'll be very surprised to see either Chelsea or Arsenal not go for him in the January transfer window. But I'll also be surprised to see him leave if he's still in that form because of how he's taken to the fans and everything. So
But
yeah, that
Arsenal,
one's.
Osimhen's a bit of a crash bang baller for Arsenal. Like,
But they need. I
I
feel
don't
like.
think he's neat enough for that.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the reason why
Chelsea,
he'd
though, I
be
think.
good.
Yeah.
The reason why I think he'd be good for them is because Pep, for example, he abandoned everything he thought a striker needs to be when he got in Erling Haaland, regardless of the goals.
Haaland's a freak, though, man.
He is. But if we're talking about everything that Arteta is doing with the play that they have now, all they need is a striker that scores goals.
No, it's true.
Especially with them set pieces. If you put Osimhen in them set
Osimhen
pieces,
there, bro.
actually, let me not even put that in the air.
Yeah,
But if you give Arsenal that set piece technique and you go give them Osimhen or someone that could really, yeah, man, even Ivan Toney would have been crazy for them. But yeah,
Arsenal bumped us as well. They got good at set pieces. We signed your set piece coach, and you lot are still getting better at set pieces. And our teams are just getting worse. Like, what's going on?
crazy.
What is going on?
Hey, listen, last year, man, took our medical guy as well.
Yeah, and then we got injured. Like I say,
Some behind the scenes
alone,
works.
bro.
Yeah, some behind the scenes works going on
like-
over there.
No, I love it.
Sabotage.
Hey guys, this was a serious pod, man. Kay, thank you for joining us, man. We needed
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
you got to come back on as well,
Yeah,
man.
definitely.
for sure.
Anytime,
When
man.
you're in London, obviously we shoot on Monday, but when you're in London, you come to the studio, so it'll feel realer. But yeah, now thank you for joining us. We're gonna be locked in every week. Is there anything I'm missing, guys? Quote sprints, anything I'm missing?
Nah, I think that is everything, man.
We're gonna have content rush coming soon, man.
Yes.
Coming soon, man. Coming soon,
Yeah,
coming soon.
yeah.
Chris is going to captain the side to glory.
Jeez.
Nah, it's Sam. That's all. No, it's not the coach actually. It's coach this time, man. It's coach. You're captain, man.
Listen,
Not
Prince
you,
is the
man.
man that does these Girth and Turf tournament. Like, this is our guy right now. This is the expert.
Exactly. But now, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a nice week, man. Peace.
Yo, guys, it's us from Keep It 90. Massive thanks to Spotify for supporting us. Have you given us a follow yet? If you haven't, make sure you do.